The largest four-season tent. Look how enormous it is in here. I can stand up straight in the entire tent. There's a ton of them. I mean, there is no lack for pockets in here. Pretty dang cool. I love this tent. This is one enormous tent. I just received the largest four-season tent available from RBM Outdoors. Even in the box, this thing is enormous. This is the dual-layer hexagon tent. Now, you can buy this by itself, or you can also get an extra floor and the Caminus M medium tent stove. As you can see, I have all three, and today we're going to unbox, set it up, and see what it's all about. Now, this floor does not come with the tent. You have to purchase it separately. This is a 3-layer floor, which is meant to keep the inside of your tent warm and prevent the snow under your tent from melting and freezing to your tent. Now, the outer layers are Oxford 300 cloth. The inner layer is a heat-insulating Isolon foil. And I already love that this is camouflage. Now, I love how this company goes the extra mile. As I took this out of the plastic, something fell out, and it just happened to be a carrying bag. The bag is made from the same material as the floor, and it is way oversized because we all know once you take this stuff out of the box, you never get it back in the same size as what it came out. Once you've put the floor in the bag, it has a giant zipper on top and 3 tension straps to pull it tight. The only thing I noticed this bag does not have is separate handles to carry it. But with the 3 straps that are already on there, that is not a problem. I took it back out of the bag and unfolded it a little to see if there was anything in there like stakes or ties. There were none that I could see at the moment, but we'll find out later when we open it up to set up our tent. Next up, we have our Caminus M medium wood-burning stove for inside the tent. Now, you can see how it arrives. It is kind of heavy. RBM always packs their products very well. You can see the stove comes inside a wooden box inside the cardboard box. And I'm going to stop right now because I'm going to do a separate video on the unboxing of this stove. But by the end of this video, you will see this stove set up inside this tent. Next, we are going to unbox this monster of a tent, and I will tell you, this thing weighs 95 pounds. I thought I was going to have to open it at one end and slide it out of the box, but it looks like I can turn it up on the other end, and the whole box will come open. In fact, we can cut the tape around the whole perimeter of the bottom of the box and just slide it out that way. Now, this box is almost 8 feet long, so I expected I was going to find the tent in here, maybe some accessories, but I was blown away when I opened it up and there was one long bag in here. First off, I love the build of this bag. I love the color. I love that it has the RBM logo right on the front, and it is a very high quality material. It must be a TPU, something that's going to protect it from the weather and dragging on the ground. Definitely nothing inside this bag is going to be getting wet. This bag has a handle on each end, a zipper along the entire length of the bag on the top, 2 tension straps, 2 long handles on top, and 3 small handles sewn in along the sides. If you can carry this thing by yourself, more power to you. You can drag it from either end, or you can have 3 guys on each side carrying this thing like pallbearers. Opening up the bag, you can see the tent is bound together with 3 more tension straps. There's a bundle of clear windows and another small plastic bag of guy lines and other accessories. I was super excited to see that there were 5 clear plastic windows included because I was under the impression that there was only 1 included. Inside the plastic bag, the first thing that I found was another little drawstring bag, and I knew what was in there immediately. It's a small hammer, which is also a multi-tool. Lots of things in here you might need while you're camping. And this is the second tent that I've got from RBM where they sent me this little hammer. I absolutely love this thing. There was also a handful of different patches to repair the tent if it needs it, 6 guy lines, and a tube of all-purpose adhesive. The third bag was a little camouflage drawstring bag, which was chock full of stakes. There are 20 regular stakes and 15 winter stakes. The winter stakes have a rubber handle and can be screwed into the ground. Now, just when I thought I was finished, I flipped over the other side of the bag and found a zipper pouch. I wasn't sure what I was going to find in here, but I'm loving the treasure hunt. And what I discovered was a little mesh camouflage thing, which I assume you hang from the middle on the inside of the tent just to hold different things. And the other thing was an awesome little booklet of RBM tents and accessories. Now it appears that's everything, so let's go ahead and get it packed back up, zip up the bag, and let's go set this tent up. So even though it's 78 degrees out here and there is absolutely no need for the extra warm floor, I wanted to show you guys how it looked. So I laid that out first. It is camouflage on both sides. One side is lighter than the other. And at first I thought it wouldn't matter, but then I noticed a seam that was kind of sticking up on the one side, so I went ahead and flipped it over. Again, I really don't think that matters, but just on the chance that you would feel that seam beneath your feet inside the tent. Once I got it laid out, I went around and I put some temporary stakes in the corners because it is a pretty windy day today, just to prevent it from blowing around in the wind while I was getting the tent prepared. So setting up this tent wasn't too bad for my first time. It took me about 15 minutes total. One thing to remember when you put it away, it would have gone much smoother setting it up if the doors and windows would have been zipped, because that just left a lot of extra fabric floating around that you were kind of fighting with. Remember, the tent itself is 95 pounds, so it takes some heave-ho to get it in the middle of this thing. Unhook the tension straps, set it straight up in the middle of the floor, and then you just kind of let it fall open. You have to go around and guide it a little bit to stretch it out. Then you just work your way around the tent, and there are handles that you grab on each side and just pull straight out towards you, and that will pop it open. After you've got all the sides popped out, you want to go inside and push the roof up. Now this tent has 3 small crescent-shaped doors and a flip wall, which is basically an entire wall that flips up and creates a vestibule or like a screen tent attached to this tent, kind of like a porch. So once I located that, I was able to turn the tent and put it in the position I wanted. Then I could go around and secure the stakes. Now there's a flap that sticks out on the bottom of this tent with loops on the corners that you pull out, and you can put the stakes in the same spot going through that flap and the extra floor. There are 6 corners, so I used 6 stakes, but there is room for another stake in between each of those. So you can have a total of 12 stakes around the perimeter of the tent if you need them. So here's how it looks at the moment. All the windows and doors are still hanging open except for the flip wall. I did go ahead and zip that up because it was easier to move with that zipped up, and that would be this wall right here. As you can see, it has a handle just like the rest of the walls to pull it out so that it pops into place. It has a zipper on each side that zips all the way down. It has its own flap here, which actually connects to the other flap with Velcro, where the flap around the rest of the perimeter is sewn together at each corner. We'll take a better look at that in a few minutes. I can't wait to get that pulled out and set up. You can see we've got a stove jack back here on the roof. So as we continue around, you can see there is a window on each of the 6 walls. There are 3 of the small crescent-shaped doors, and we make our way back around to the front, and this is where the flip wall is. And up here is the RBM logo. I love this thing. I think that's such a cool logo. And that's made of rubber up there too. Now, if you'll notice above each of the windows, there are loops as well as down the sides of the doors. And if we lift up this flap, you can see there are toggles there. So you can roll up the flaps, toggle them into place. Same with the doors. And like I said, each of the doors and windows have 3 layers. So they have this flap here. They have a screen, and if we unzip the screen, you can see that actually has the camo print on it as well. You can roll that up and toggle it into place, and I absolutely love that these are white. Same with the door, and that leaves you with the 3rd layer, and the same with that 3rd layer. You can roll those up on the windows and doors, toggle them into place, and then you can leave it wide open. And here's how it looks with all those windows and doors opened up, except for the front, of course. Pretty cool. That definitely lets a lot of air go through there. Now, if we come over here and look, you can see down between, you can see the 2 layers. We got this white layer here on the inside, and then we've got this outer layer. That's what helps to keep it warm. And then we can actually see part of the mechanism here. This is aircraft grade aluminum, but here's how it looks from this angle over here. And you will notice that the only place there is not a window is in the front here. And again, this is that part that flips open and makes kind of like a covered porch. Now, if you're going to use the ropes, the guy lines to secure your tent and anchor it down even better, you would just attach them right to here. There are no other D-rings or anything around the top of the tent to connect those two. You just have to use these handles. Okay, before we do anything else, let's go ahead in and check out the inside. Look how enormous it is in here. I can stand up straight in the entire tent. Now, I will say this, when you're putting up the top of the tent, This is where that extra handle or post is supposed to go that gives you leverage to push it up. You can see that it's threaded in there. And the only thing that I could find was these two poles. This one actually is threaded, and that actually fits in there. So if you want more support in maybe high winds or snow, you can actually put this pole in here all the way up to the top, and that'll give you more support in case like snow is falling and sitting on the roof. Because let's face it, snow is heavy. If you get enough up there, it could collapse that. Another thing I want to point out is that the floor in this tent is removable. You can see where some of it is already unzipped here. This is actually the triple thick floor that we put down before we even set up the tent. That zips back up, or you can unzip it around the entire perimeter of the tent and remove it completely. And not to make you dizzy, but we are in a round tent. You can see there are tons of pockets in here for storage all the way around. I mean, look at this. We've got several of these mesh pockets on 3 of the walls. We've got this kind of a zip pocket on 2 of the walls. 3 of the walls have these multi-pockets, and 4 of the walls have these 3 mesh pocket divider. I don't even know what the heck you want to call them, man, but there's a ton of them. I mean, there is no lack for pockets in here. There's also these hooks around the perimeter of the tent where you can hang lights. Those go all the way around, and then if we look up here, you can see where there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more hooks up here. And I think that's what this is for. If you remember when we pulled this out earlier, that snaps into place on each of these hooks and hangs right there. And if you have the pole up, you can even put it straight up through the middle there. And if you don't have enough pockets already, there's another one right there in the center at the top. You got your stove jack over here. We're actually going to pull the stove out and set it up in a minute. That Velcro's open right there. This is our double layers here. We've got 2 steel rings here that will go around our stove pipe. And I like this. This is convenient. The placement of this window allows you to go right out and be able to access your stove jack on the roof right here. And that also Velcro's open here on both sides. And then this opens up. And like I said, we'll bring that stove out here and set it up in a minute. You can see how it looks in here. But that brings us to the final destination, which is this door over here. This door is much bigger than the little crescent-shaped doors, so I like that. Like everything else, this just zips down and around to open it up. Both of those toggle into place to hold it open. And you can see this steel frame a little bit better here, or aircraft aluminum. I believe that's how it's described on the website. But now we step out here and we get to the part I'm really looking forward to. Flipping that up. Basically, all you have to do is undo the Velcro at the bottom corners, unzip each side, pull up the wall, use 2 of the poles, insert 1 in each of the corner pockets, and that's basically it. Now, just to explain this a little deeper, you do have Velcro on the corners of this flap. This flap lays flat on the ground here, and it Velcros onto right here. So you want to unzip that. You have the zippers at the sides. You want to unzip that all the way up, lift the wall up, and then you take each of these poles, and there's this piece sticking down. Little hole in there, you just stick it right up in there, and then you put it down on the ground there. 1 pole on this end, 1 pole on this end. There are these little loops on here, and you can just take guy wires, connect them to those, and then stake it into the ground out in front. I think that is a totally awesome addition to this tent. So we've got 2 things left to do. One of them is to put these plastic windows in, and the way that those install, if you look up here, you can see that there is Velcro around the bottom of the windows, and there is a strip of Velcro across the top as well. You can see there's Velcro around each edge of these windows. The easiest way to do this is by starting at the top, attach it all the way across, then pull it down and work on each side. So here's how it looks with the plastic windows in. I put them in all the way around so I can show you how it looks. Pretty dang cool. Now once we get around the other side here, I will show you exactly how they connect close up so you can see. So this is the Velcro that goes all the way around the perimeter of each of these windows. Let's step inside. I'll show you how it looks in here. There's the plastic windows in all around the tent with the door open. Here's how it looks with those windows in place and the doors closed. Doors closed and plastic windows out. Doors closed, white windows closed. Doors closed and the screen closed. And the doors closed and all the windows closed. We're going to leave this up for a minute because we're going to bring the stove in, but let's go ahead and step inside, see how it looks with everything closed up. Check that out. Yeah, that looks cozy already without even putting any furniture or anything in. So I took out the pole and set up the stove. You can see the stovepipe sticking out up above. And let's go on in and see how it looks. Check that out. Yes, there's our stove, ready to be cooking. I cannot wait to take this out camping. I'm going to be doing that very soon here. There is plenty of room at the sides of it for chairs, for cots. Look how much space you have in this tent all around. This is one enormous tent. You could even take this ice fishing. The entire floor zips out, as we were talking about before, and it would leave the whole area open for you to dig your holes with the auger, drop a line down, kick back with your stove, and catch some fish. I love this tent. So from out here, you can see the stovepipe sticking up, and let's just go back around here, and I'll show you how it looks from the back. There it is, coming right up out of the stove jack there. It goes right through those two metal rings, and when I put it together, I built it inside up to here, stuck that part out, then I unzipped this window and was able to stand up right out of there and stick the rest of the pipe on. All right, that is it for the 4-season Hexagon tent from RBM Outdoors. If you guys feel like I haven't answered all the questions, feel free to leave me some questions below. I will also have a link below where you can go and get a discount on this tent or anything you buy on the RBM website.